Well, Superior leaders are moving forward now with their goal of making the city lead-free.
But a veto was needed to accomplish that. During City Council tonight, Superior Mayor Jim Paine vetoed an ordinance that mandates that all lead service lines must be replaced by November 2037. However, Mayor Paine confirmed the veto was just procedural. He is still supportive of the ordinance, but says the language needs some clarifying, adding that he has several questions about it and wanted to bring it back to committee.
I want to make sure that this increases affordability for everybody, that it treats everybody fairly, doesn't saddle anybody with any unnecessary costs. I think it does that. But since we have to fix it anyways, let's give ourselves more time.
Paine says because it was an approved ordinance, it would be more expensive to do a whole new ordinance. So by vetoing it, it can go back to the committee as language is worked out in the next couple of months. He expects it to pass when it returns to council. Also at tonight's meeting, Superior firefighters presented their vision to councilors for a new and improved fire hall. Superior's fire chief, Cameron Volbrecht, was joined by the construction company to show city councilors the potential design and cost estimates for the new station. The goal is to replace the current facility known as Station 2, which responds to emergencies on the north side of the city, with a $10 million public safety hub.
This project does appear fundamentally viable considering the communicated scope and budget of the project.
The new station would double the space for crew members as well as training rooms for newer firefighters. Superior Mayor Jim Paine prioritized making room for this project when finalizing his budget plans for 2026. If approved by the council, construction could start as soon as this spring, with the project taking about a year to complete.